Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Frankie Korea, aka Frank White, BK White Chocolate. Ah, you know how I do. And welcome to episode of the Film Grind, where we talk about everything and anything, no budget, independent, anything that has to be film related, behind the scenes, on the scenes, everything. Today we're gonna be talking about something near and dear to my heart, which is fight choreography and fight scenes. I had to shoot a fight scene, and the thing is that there's so many people out there who, they're like, hey, well, I got a black belt. Hey, I'm a master in the martial arts. Hey, I'm a grandmaster in the martial arts. I could put some really good fight scenes together. No. What you guys got to understand and realize is that reality and fiction is two different things. What happens in the street is not going to look good on camera. What we do on camera, which is fiction, is we want to make it look as realistic as possible, but at the same time, a lot of the stuff most of the time doesn't work because it's for fiction. It's for fantasy. It's for to make you go, oh wow, that was dope. You know what I mean? But you got people out there that have nothing better to do than to do a podcast or a YouTube channel, and they sit there and they're like in their early 20s and late 20s and maybe early 30s, and they're like, well, if you came at me with a knife like this, that wouldn't work. And if you came at me with a punch like this or a kick like that, I would put you on the floor and put you into a triangle choke. And then they would be like, oh, holding a knife like that doesn't work. Okay, first of all, they're comparing movies now and realistic and reality now to 1992, 1993 movies from like movies that came out before they were born. You know what I mean? That's number one. Number two, I understand what they're trying to say, but there's no right way to say but shut up, because you're ruining films for people. You know what I mean? We used to be able to go to the movie theaters in the 80s and the 90s and just enjoy it. We never said, oh man, where him flipping off the wall, that wouldn't work in the real street. No, we were like, yo, did you remember when he flipped off the wall? Yo, that shit was dope. Now, it seems like everybody wants to be a film critic. Everybody. And everybody wants to be a fight aficionado, if you will. So it's like, oh well, if you were to throw this play, I mean, it happens with everybody. And then you have those people who, they say, oh man, I wanna I wanna do a thing where I show people how it's real, how real fights are done. And then they do the fight scene, and it's like, no, it looks like shit. You know what I mean? Now, granted, listen, I know I'm gonna get a lot of bad feedback on this, like people cursing me out about fight scenes. Listen, I know that a lot of people out there don't like my fight scenes. You know what I mean? I know that they're like, oh, his fight scenes are horrible. They call me the low budget Steven Seagal sometimes. You know what I mean? Some people call me the low budget Steven Seagal. Um, but I know what looks good and what doesn't on camera. You know what I mean? That's the thing. And I have to work with what I have. If I had, a nice area where I had like a big room to do a fight scene, great. That gives me enough, enough room to do what I want to do. But when I'm working with the hallway, that's like I don't know how big is this hallway over here in my house. What is it, like 2.5 feet by like 17 feet and narrow? So you have to do a fight scene there. It's hard. There's not much you can do. So you have to work with that. Now, another thing is that people say, oh, well, it does this and does that. But listen, when it's this and that, and they didn't look like they were prepared and stuff. So listen, you got to understand, we make no budget films. I make no budget films, okay? We, as an independent industry, we make no budget films, micro budget films, low budget films. Sometimes we don't have that luxury of having, like, a lot of people say, oh, we previs. Listen, when you're doing no budget, low budget, and micro budget and low budget filmmaking, you don't have time to previs. I'm sorry, you don't. Because number one, people don't like to show up. That's number one. Number two, by the time the day comes for you to shoot, everybody has forgotten the choreography, even yourself. You know what I mean? It's good to do the choreography, spend the one day doing choreography, and that's it. You know, people want to do all these flashy things and jump off of trees and, do all these high kicks and stuff like that. And they're like, oh, man, you got to see my previs. You got to see my previs. You got to see my previs. Dude, you're not Hollywood, okay? You're not Hollywood. You're pressed for time. Just get it done, ladies and gentlemen. Not just say dude, because dude can, I don't want women filmmakers to say, oh well, wow, why are you singling out as female filmmakers? Ladies and gentlemen, just get it done. Like, you know what I mean? You're wasting time doing previses. You know, stop it. You're putting yourself behind schedule, and that's it. Like when you're working with no budget or very little budget, you do it the same day that you're filming. That's it. You do it the same day that you're filming. All right. You spend majority of the time doing the fight scene. Of course, you should have it written down, the way what you see and stuff like that. But sometimes what you want does not look the way you envision it on camera. And people say, "Oh, well, it doesn't look the way I pictured it. It didn't come out the right way on camera because it doesn't work." That's why you have to go with things that work and angles that work. And it's just not the fight. It's not the fight technique too. It's the angle of your camera. It's the angle of your camera. If you don't know, to shoot over the right shoulder. If you don't know to shoot over the left shoulder. If you don't know to keep the camera moving. A lot of people say, oh, I like to keep my shit stationary, have it on a tripod, and get the whole fight scene. Yeah, that's great, but then people are seeing everything. Unless you're going to do all close-ups and stuff like that. Another thing is a lot of people don't do contact hits. You know what I mean? They do close-ups. So they get no close-ups, nothing, excuse me. So, fight choreography is a very delicate situation with me and in this film industry. I'm sorry about that. I was a little parched. You know what I'm saying? Um, but I plan on doing a 2-hour workshop going over the basics and the fundamentals of doing a fight scene, and then allowing people to get a 45 second to minute clip of whatever fight scene I put together for them or whatever. And that's going to be soon. So if you guys are interested in that, you can contact me. It's going to be probably in New York City. I'll probably do a pre-registration, but but that's for later times. What we're talking about right now is straight up fight choreography. Now, everybody wants to kind of like follow and trend everybody else. Like we as Americans, okay, we try to do our own thing and stuff like that. But the thing is that once somebody here does something, everybody follows it. Once somebody does something big here that becomes a big trend, everybody follows it. So 8711, right? Chad Stahelski and David Leitch, they put together 8711 Productions, and they do their stunt team together. And what do? They combine Aikido, Judo, and Jiu-Jitsu and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with each other and do John Wick. Now they do the same thing in Atomic Blonde. Now everybody's on a bandwagon. Now everybody's like, oh, I want that in my movie. You know what I mean? And then when the superhero movies came along, Marvel and stuff like that, they hired 8711. 8711 did everything that 8711 does. Basically, looks like 8711. Like their choreography is practically almost always the same, except for the new movie Violent Night with Santa Claus taking on the assassins. That was done very well because he was using a sledgehammer, so it was something different. That was cool. Now Sam Hargrove, when he did Extraction. Not Extraction Point, not my movie. He did Extraction with Chris Hemsworth. His choreography was a little different than 87. Even though he comes from 8711, it was a little different. You know what I mean? But the thing is that there's a lot of 8711. There's a lot of acrobatics. There's a lot of you know a lot of wrestling techniques, jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu techniques, a lot of judo. You know what I mean? But when you look at another choreography, like somebody like Corey Yun, or you look at somebody like Iko Kwais, or which is another person that everybody copies off of, Iko Kwais. You know what I mean? Um, because his choreography is all close and he has the camera moving back and forth and around. That's why whenever my camera moves around, I always pay tribute and I say I don't even call it shaky camera anymore. I just call it the raid. I call it the raid shot. That's what I call it, the raid shot. So like if you when you see my camera moving, I'm like, oh, that's the raid shot. I'm using the raid shot because to me in the raid the camera is always practically moving, and you know, in the fight scenes it really worked out. And even though the fight scenes are sped up, now getting to the speeding up thing, um, I see a lot of people. I'm not gonna name names because I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings, and that's not my job here. But I see a lot of people going full force when they're doing their choreography. And what I mean by full force is like they're going light contact, but they're going like full force light contact. You know what I mean? And it's like, why are you doing that? The rule of thumb, and this is the word in the words of Jeff Amada, you always go 50% because you don't want to hurt anybody, especially if they don't have experience. It doesn't matter how many times you go over it. You can be repetitive with it, but somebody will get hurt. So you always want to go 50%, so that way you can speed it up and you can speed it up in post. And when you speed it up in post, it flows more eloquently. But when you go full force, there's no way to change anything. And it's like and you're going too fast, so you can't really slow it down because when you go too fast, it doesn't look good when you slow it down. It makes it choppy. You know what I mean? Now you can go 70, like my brother Robert Parham, who you guys know is a award-winning filmmaker. One of my another one of my mentors, like one of my best friends. World kickboxing champion, world karate champion. Uh, you know, he does his fight scenes, and I asked him one time. I said, when you do your fight scenes, do you go 50%? He goes, no, actually, I go 75. I like to go 75. He goes, I mean, I feel like 75 is the sweet spot. So everybody has their forte, but you shouldn't go full blast. You know what I mean? Because it's not going to come out right and somebody's going to get hurt. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you say, oh, it was light contact. What happens if you slip? You go full force slip, light contact, boop, bust somebody's lip. Now they want to fight you. It stops production. It just stops the production. You know what I'm saying? It's not. It's not cool. It's not cool. We're not here to hurt each other. We're here to help each other. You know what I mean? You want to make sure that everything goes smooth on set, especially with the fight scenes. Now people used to break my balls, and they used to say, Frank, why do you keep on saying one more for safety, one more for safety, one more for safety? Because I would always get like 4 or 5 shots of everything. And they would get mad because they're getting thrown to the floor, thrown to the floor, thrown to the floor, thrown to the floor. Or, they have to keep on doing the same thing over and over and over and over. And it's like, dude, this is part of the job. Like, you signed up to be an actor. You signed up to do your own stunts. So this is what you got to go through. You got to do it over and over and over, repetitive, until, so I can know which one to pick that's the right one. Or if I had to cut 2 of them together to make it look good, that's what's going to happen. But some people are like, man, blah, 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 blah. But the thing is that when you're not paying people, this is what happens. You know what I mean? And the only time people don't complain when you're not paying them is like if you're working with when you're working with a known celebrity or something like that. You know what I mean? Then people will be like, oh, I'll work for free with him. That's my man, that's my boy, blah, blah, blah. Or that's my homegirl. Yeah, she's been around, she's been doing this. Like if Cynthia Rothrock said, if Cynthia Rothrock or Bobby Samuels or Philip Ree or Don Wilson said, hey, listen, I need some extras for my film. We can't pay you, but uh, you know, we need some extra fighters. Do you guys want to be in a big budget, in a low budget action film with me? And they'll be like, oh yeah, yeah. It looks and there's no pay. They'll be like, oh, it's no problem. Now, if they do the fight scene over and over and over and over and over, just to make sure that Don looks good, or Cynthia looks good, or Rob or Bobby looks good, you know, or Philip looks good, you know what I mean? They, you know, the people that are doing the choreography that are doing a fight scene with them aren't going to complain because they're working with a celebrity. But when they're working with somebody who's, just coming up in the game like myself or like you guys out there, they're going to complain. Oh man, 3 times, 4 times. Why do you have to have it so many times? And they'll complain. You know what I mean? They will complain. But if you give them money, they'll be like, hey, okay, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. You know what I mean? And then, of course, once you give them the money, they'll do it. But then, like a day or two later, they'll be like, oh man, I'm hurting from that fight scene. He didn't know what he was doing. She didn't know what she was doing. And sometimes they still complain. You know what I mean? But it comes with the territory. It comes with the territory. You know what I'm saying? Now, once again, like I said earlier, not everybody can put together a fight scene. Okay, you got people out there that are grandmasters and masters and black belts, and they're like, yeah, yeah. Like I said earlier, I'll put together a kick-ass fight scene for you. It'll look really good. No, but how do you know it's gonna look good? You've never done it before. You know what I mean? Now, jump over to the other side of the tracks. There's people that have been doing stunt coordinating for years, and they have no martial arts experience. They have no martial arts experience, but they know what they're doing, so they know what looks good on camera, and they're good at it. You know what I mean? They're good at putting together fisticuff films. They don't do martial arts fight scenes because they're not martial artists, but they put together fisticuff fight scenes where there's elbows and punches, and maybe somebody gets thrown on top of a table, or you might see a hip throw, or some wrestling, from some high school wrestling or whatever, or a suplex or whatever you want to say. And it'll come out looking good. You know what I mean? But not everybody could be a fight choreographer. Fight choreographer or or a stunt coordinator, because you have to have a certain type of vision, a certain eye for action. And everybody says, "Oh, I can do it. I can do it. Let's shoot it like this, like that." And then you got these people out there doing it, and they're doing it wrong. And when you try to tell them, listen, you're doing it wrong. Like, you should. And you're not saying, "Oh my God, your fucking shit is garbage. Your fucking shit is atrocious." No, you're just saying, "Hey man, listen, you're doing it wrong. Listen, if I were you, I would suggest moving the camera here, or maybe going a little slower when you throw your punches or when you throw your kicks, and have more of a yell and impact when the person gets kicked. Make them grunt or something like that." And people still go, "Oh, you think you're better than me just because you got a couple movies out there." And listen, once again, I don't toot my own horn. I've been doing this for over 20 fucking years. I'm doing this to help you guys out. You know what I mean? I'm doing this to talk to you guys about things so we can interact with each other and help each other out. I'm not doing this to chastise people or to put people down, because I'm not the greatest filmmaker in the world either. You know what I mean? Everybody has their own niche for doing things. Everybody has their own forte. But I know that what I'm doing is right because I've been doing it for so fucking long. You know what I mean? I've almost broken my back. I've broken my instep. I've broken my finger, actually. If some of you guys who are my friends on Facebook know that I just recently broke my finger. Couldn't get to the doctors. You know what I did? 4 days of waiting. As you can see, it's still swollen. I snapped it back in place. So now I can wiggle it. I can't bend my finger too much, but I snapped it back in place because I have no time for that. But that's my mentality. That's the things that I do, because I'm a patient person. But when I'm in pain, I gotta you gotta get rid of that pain. whatever the case may be. So when it comes to the pain of fight choreography and doing a fight scene, the reality is I try to help as many people as I can. Like I said, I'm not the greatest person, but when somebody like Jeff Amata gives you, their insights and tells you do this, do that, do this, do that, and then tells you the difference between being an actor and a stuntman. We'll talk about that another time. Just it's two different worlds, two different worlds. And even though a stuntman or a stunt woman consider themselves actors and actresses, they'll never be accepted by the acting world. You know what I mean? Which is crazy. But yet, if a actor wants to says, "Oh, I haven't became an actor yet," uh, I want to be a stuntman instead or a stunt woman instead because it pays more money and I'll get acknowledged fast. The stunt world will acknowledge you faster than anything. Like they'll accept you. They'll give you trials and tribulations to see if you're really serious about it. But they'll accept you faster than the acting world was. The acting world will never accept you, like 90% of the time. You know what I mean? It's a big ordeal. We'll talk about that next time. But it's the truth. As for fight choreography and stunt choreography, like I said, you gotta analyze what you want to do and how you want to do it. At the same time, you want to do test shots to make sure that when you actually shoot the fucking fight scene, excuse my language, it comes out the way you envision it. If not, then you got to come up with something different that is going to work for you. You know what I mean? Because I see a lot of people doing things and they got the wrong angle. So instead of shooting from this side with the punch coming this way, or from behind and the punch coming this way, so you can see the reaction. No, they shoot right here in front, so you see the whole punch missing. It's like why did you do that? You know what I mean? There's different ways. You know what I mean? Just like the 360 rule and the 180 rule. Okay, I said that before. The 180 rule. You have the 90-degree rule, right? Which is a half a circle. Okay. So you go from the back to the front. Okay, and then 180 you go from the front to the back. So that's one full circle. Okay, one full circle around the fight scene. All right. Now, 360 is the same thing. You're doing left to right, right? You're going left to right all the way around, and then you're going right to left all the way around. So that's 360. So you're going all the way left to right, and then back right to left. That's a 360. That means you're getting the fight scene in two full circles. Okay, 2 full circles, and that should help you out with your fight scene. But like I said, I'm just here to help you guys out. I'm not telling you guys how to shoot your fight scene. I'm just telling you that there's a lot of people out there that claim to be fight choreographers and claim to be, stunt coordinators, but they've never done it before. And then, if they've done it on a short film, unless you've actually worked on a feature film and done it on a movie that's like an hour or more or something like that, then and it's accredited, meaning you have IMDb credit for it. Because a lot of people say, "Oh, well, I worked on this movie and that movie and this movie and that movie and this movie," and they keep on naming movies, but you know what? It's not listed on IMDb. You know what I mean? And you know what? You can't find it nowhere on the internet. So if you can't find if you're naming movies that are not able to be found on the internet, which is crazy, or you're naming movies that have no IMDb credit, because without IMDb credit, it's basically what the word I'm looking for. you can't use that credit. It's not Hollywood, or let's just say not Hollywood. Let's just say the film industry won't allow you to have that credit, because it's like, okay, you don't have IMDb credit for it, and you don't have footage for it. You know, what I mean, it's nice. I mean, you have footage for it, but it never came out anywhere. So if it never came out anywhere, it's irrelevant. That's the word that I'm looking for. You understand what I'm saying? So, guys, you know, like I said, once again, I'm gonna be doing a 2 hour workshop in New York City sometime soon. If you guys are interested, reach out to me. We will be going over the basic fight choreography in the class. Also, basic angles to shoot the fight scenes, as well as possibly we'll go over, single knife fighting as well. All right. It'll be a 2 hour workshop. It'll be in New York City, and everybody gets to keep the training knives as a gift from me to you. And at the same time, you will also get a 45-second to a minute clip for your choreography reel or demo reel, to show that you actually know how to do a fight scene or have acknowledged of doing a fight scene, as well as a certificate of completion of approval. All right. So I'm sorry for plugging that, but I wanted to put it out there for people who live in the New York, New Jersey area, because it's beneficial to everybody. And I am, once again, I'm not tooting my own horn. I am an award-winning filmmaker and an award-winning fight director, fight choreographer, whichever you want to call it. So I'm just here to help you guys. All right, and that's it. If you guys have any comments, if you guys like this, like, comment, and share below this video. Once again, if you have any questions or want to leave any comments, or if you like this video or don't like this video, leave a like, share, comment, share this with your friends and family. Maybe there's some people that you know that might be interested in watching this. There's going to be a part 2 to this as well, and I will be also interviewing very soon other fight coordinators and martial arts actors as well, to get their insight on fight choreography and their way of filming things and their way of doing things and how they got into the business as well. So on that note, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of The Film Grind. Thank you so much. I hope that this was somewhat informative for you on this thing, because this one was near and dear to my heart. I wish I could do a longer episode, but remember, humans have a short attention span, so over 30 minutes, nobody wants to watch the shit. You know what I'm saying? Excuse my language once again. Remember, if you want, please like, share this with all your friends who you think they'll benefit from it, and comment below. Or if you have any questions, leave a comment below as well. Leave a question in the comment section as well. All right. I thank you very much for tuning in to this episode of The Film Grind. And once again, there will be a part 2 of fight choreography and how to shoot a film. All right. And on that note, thank you for tuning in. My name is Franklin Correa. God bless you guys, and I'll see you next time on The Film Grind. Take care.